evening to all. Very good evening to all. I, Mr. Prashant Payam, welcome all the participants for the awareness webinar on managing financial risk and retirement planning, which is organized by Sanatana Samprathisthana, Mysuru, in association with the Rotary Club of Mysore West. Prayer is the process of talking to God in order to achieve a purpose. So let us begin this webinar by seeking the blessing of the Lord Almighty. सर्वमंगल मांगल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थ साधिके शरण्ये त्र्यंबके गौरी नारायणी नमोस्तुते. Now I request Dr. Ramchandra CG, the Managing Trustee of Sanatana Samprathisthana, to welcome and introduce the speaker of today's webinar. I also request him to welcome the guest and the participants. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, one and all. I take this opportunity on behalf of Sanatana Samprathisthana, Mysuru, to welcome today's speaker, Mr. V.R. Ayyappan, today's guest, Dr. Raghavendra Prasad MD, President and Rotary Club of Mysore West, as well as Shri Dinesh Kumar, Secretary, Rotary Club of Mysore West, Shri Lokesh CG, President, Dr. Shantraji Harris and Srimati Bhagya Gopal, Board of Trustees, Sanatana Samprathisthana. Finally, I welcome all the participants. So, Sanatana Samprathisthana Trust is a non-profit organization situated at Mysuru, Karnataka, has been serving the society and supporting noble causes since 2020. Since the time of its inception and through the process of its evolution, the sole essence of Sanatana Samprathisthana Trust has always been for the benefit of the society, to guide, to help, to educate, to empower, and to enrich the knowledge of any individual or group of people. The Trust provides a broad range of social services to all the categories of people. These services are available regardless of age, religious preference, gender, economic status, etc. Some of the programs that Sanatana Samprathisthana Trust is associated with, which include the Research and Training Institute, Skill Development Center, Coaching Center, Employment Center, Sports Academy, Cultural Academy, Organics and Herbal Ayurvedic Healthcare Center, Meditation and Yoga Center, and many more. So coming to today's the speaker, Mr. V.R. Ayyappan. See, he holds the Chartered Financial Analyst from CFA Institute, USA, Financial Risk Manager certification from GARP, USA, PGDM majoring finance from Christ College Institute of Management, Bengaluru. He has 13 plus years of professional experience spanning across investment consulting, financial research, and asset management. He strongly believes in the concept of financial freedom and advocates the concept of financial freedom. He is helping more than 400 clients spread across 15 countries in their path of achieving financial freedom. He founded merafunds.com, an online mutual fund distribution platform which allows individuals to invest with ease. He conducts regular financial training programs for individuals and corporates, and also post financial articles in financial websites. So this is a brief introduction about today's speaker, and coming to today's topic, the finance. So we can define as the management of money and includes activities such as investing, borrowing, lending, budgeting, saving, and forecasting. So financial risk is the possibility of losing money on an investment or business venture. Financial risk includes the problems that an investment firm creates for itself or others as a result of its financial condition. Financial risk can be classified into various types such as asset-backed risk, credit risk, foreign investment risk, currency risk, liquidity risk, stock market risk, interest rate risk, etc. And coming to the other part of today's program, retirement planning. Retirement planning is the process of determining retirement income goals and the actions and decisions necessary to achieve those goals. Retirement planning includes identifying source of income, estimating expenses, implementing a savings program, and managing assets and risks. So retirement planning is ideally a lifelong process. You can start at any time, but it works best if you factor into your financial planning from the beginning. That's the best way to ensure a safe, secure, and fun retirement. So benefits of retirement planning. So peace of mind. Planning ahead will reduce uncertainty for you and will help you be mentally free for your later years. So the basic intention to organize today's awareness webinar on managing financial risk and retirement planning is to provide the information about how to manage various financial risks. Then today's speaker, he will speak about the various ways in which retirement planning can be done for a happy life. With this, I wish all the participants will have a fruitful interaction with the speaker. Once again, I thank one and all. Over to you, Prashant.
Thank you, sir. Now I request today's guest, Shri Dinesh Kumar DK, Secretary, Rotary Club of Mysore West, to say a few words about today's webinar. Over to you, sir.
Hello. Audible, sir?
Yes, audible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. First of all, I wish you a happy Dasara to all the participants. And I am happy that Sanatana Samprathisthana conducting various programs in association with Rotary West. Already Dr. Ramchandra mentioned more than 35 programs since from April COVID time. They conducted various subject and Rotary know very well. Rotary is international organization. We having 13 lakhs members throughout the world, and Rotary Mysore West situated in Saraswatipuram, and also we are running 2 schools, Saraswatipuram and Dattahalli, and also permanent programs, services like Save a Child in association with Kamakshi Hospital, newly born kids. We are going to give help for operation. And also we have Polaris Vocational Training Institute situated at Dattahalli, and we are giving free training for beautician, bag making, tailoring, and kuch and computer and other training free of cost for the ladies. And also we have mother and deaf child institution also we have in Bogadi, and other activities like and in dental care for jailate, and also other various programs, and we are giving support to the economically weaker section children to study. These are all the projects we are taking from Rotary Club of Mysore West, and I am happy that we are associated with Sanatana Samprathisthana Rotary Club of Mysore. This very financial risk and retirement planning is very important subject. I know very well VR Ayyappan is an excellent speaker. I wish you all the best. I hope from this financial risk and retirement planning will gain important topics, and I hope this program will prove fruitful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Mr. V.R. Ayyappan, Chartered Financial Analyst, Financial Risk Manager, founder, merafunds.com, to start his session. Over to you, sir.
Thanks, Prashant. And thanks, Dr. Ramachandra and Mr. Dinesh for the introduction. And happy Dasara to everyone. And the best way to celebrate Dasara is to take control of your finances. So today I will discuss on the current topic, financial risk management, as well as the retirement planning. I'll share a screen. I'll run through the presentation. Any doubts you have during the presentation, just put it on the chat box. We will take it after the presentation. And after the presentation, we can have a Q&A session. Okay. And I would request everyone to have a paper and pen ready so that you can calculate how much money you need to invest or how much money you should have at the time of retirement. Okay. And let's keep it a more interactive session.
Yes.
I'm going to share my screen. Is the screen visible?
Yes, visible.
Yeah, great. Okay. Okay. So let me run through the presentation. Managing financial risk and retirement planning. I'll keep the presentation very simple so that everyone can understand. Managing financial risk. What are the financial risk we are exposed to? Right? Risk comes from not knowing what you are doing. Okay. This kind of educative session will help you to understand what exactly the risk is about. So risk is, we are getting into risk for the simple reason that we don't know what we are getting into. So an educative session or educative slot like this can help you reduce your risk. Right? This is a quote from Warren Buffett. Now, what are the different kinds of risk we are exposed to from the finance point of view? One is income risk. What do you mean by income risk? The chances that we will be losing our income earning potential, right? So if the income stops, everything goes for a toss. Next is the saving risk. Saving risk is I am earning sufficiently, but I am not able to save sufficient amount because of the expenses or because of my lifestyle, right? If you don't save enough, then you get into saving risk. And the third thing is I'm earning enough, I'm saving enough, but I am not putting in right investment basket, or the investments might go up and down. So those are considered as investment risk. So let's understand these three things, how you can manage these risks. And then the next topic, we will plan out how you can plan your retirement. Right? Income risk. So as I mentioned, what is the income risk? What are the chances your income will stop? Right? The first probability is death happening. Even this is from the family perspective. If there is a person who is income earner in a family, and if he dies, the income for the family will stop, right? The second is disability. So I have one of my friend who met with an accident. He was working in an IT company. He was earning handsomely, but he met with an accident and it made him immovable. He's alive, but he's not able to earn what he used to earn, right? So disability can affect your earning potential, and especially if you are on the marketing side and all, then this can be a big risk. If you are moving around and if you are exposed to more accidental possibilities, then this can also be one of the big risks, right? And the third is unemployment. Now, unemployment, if there is a temporary unemployment, so you will be out of job for some time, how you can manage during that period, right? And the fourth is aging, which is a very natural process. So everyone will retire at the age of 55, 58, 60, whatever it might be. So with age, their income is going to stop, right? So these are the four different combinations in which, every individual is exposed to income risk. Now, how you can manage this income risk, right? So these are the tools how you can manage your income risk. First, possibility of death, you can manage that risk by insurance, right? The financial risk. So your family will be sufficiently, if you have taken right insurance policies, it will help your family at least to be financially on a strong foothold, right? And how much insurance you need to take depends on your earning potential. Now let's assume, for a simplicity, someone at the age of 40 years and is earning yearly 10 lakh rupees. So had he been alive and worked till 60 years, without assuming any growth, in next 20 years, you would have made 2 crore earnings, right? If someone's salary is 10 lakh today and is 40 years old. So if he works till 60 years, every year if he earns 10 lakh rupees, he would have earned totally 2 crores. Now you just have to think what is your current earning level and how many years you are expecting to work more, and what is the earning you feel that you are going to earn over the next 10 years or 20 years on your working life. Okay. Now think whether you have covered that much insurance. So in my example, a 40 years old who is earning 10 lakh rupees per annum, he is going to work for next 20 years. He will work for 20 years into 10 lakhs, 2 crores is his earning potential. So if he dies today, will his family get 2 crores? Does he has a coverage of 2 crore? So that his financial risk is eliminated or covered to some extent. Okay. So whenever you are taking insurance, don't look at the number of policies you have. It is irrelevant. If you have 5 policies, each policy is of 1 lakh, the total sum assured is only 5 lakhs. Getting? So don't go by number of policies you have. Go by the total coverage you have. The simple equation could be whatever is your current salary and how many years is left, you multiply that much insurance you should have at least. So that's why if someone goes to 55 years or 58 years, then what happens? They will be left with only 2 more years of work. So the need for insurance comes down. Getting? So if you are young, you have next 30 years or 40 years of your work life. So your insurance requirement is high and even your family will be dependent on you. If you move to 55 plus or 60, your kids should have already grown up and your working life is also very less. So the dependence on you from financial angle is less. Okay. So if you're young, insurance is a very much essential instrument. You should have it and you should have a right insurance product. Getting? The next is disability. So insurance only pays in case of death. What if there is an accident and there is a disability and the person is still alive, but his ability to earn has come down, right? So how you can cover this? There is a very good product called personal accident cover, okay, with the disability features, which will pay for partial disability, temporary disability, and also for death. Okay, this is an insurance policy which you can get for, like, say for example, 1 crore coverage would cost you some 8,000 or 7,000 rupees, right, per annum. So this product will protect you from disability. If someone is exposed to the risk of accident, then personal accident cover is one of the very good policy you should go. If someone is on a marketing kind of job, who is always on the move, who is exposed to more accidental risk, then it becomes much more essential you get into a personal accident cover policy, which you can easily get from any health insurer. If you approach any health insurer, you will be able to get your personal accident cover, right? The third is unemployment. See, unemployment, if it is a temporary phase, someone is out of job for 3 months or 6 months, or this kind of COVID thing happened and people are, left out of job for 3 to 6 months, then if you have built enough emergency fund that can at least take care during that tough times, right? So emergency fund, how much you need to build? At least 6 to 8 months of your expenses, monthly expenses. So if your monthly expenses is 40-50,000, so at least 6 months would be like 2.5 lakhs. So always keep 2.5 lakh as an emergency fund. So if I'm out of job, at least I can use that 2.5 lakhs for next 5 to 6 months. I will not be desperate from day one. I'll not get into credit card loan. I'll not take a personal loan for my livelihood, right? And also it could be possible that some medical emergency comes, so you have this emergency fund. It can be used for that purpose also. But here, from income risk perspective, I'm speaking, and this is only for temporary. If there is a permanent job loss, then nothing can be done. Your emergency fund also will run out, right? And next is aging. So everyone has to retire one day. It can be 55, it can be 58, or it can be 60. Once you retire, your active income is going to stop. That is, the salary is going to stop. So you should have a replacement source of income, which can be coming from your retirement fund. So you have a corpus which can pay you a cash flow or a monthly income on which you can take care of your rest of your life, right? So this section we will be covering. So today we will learn how to calculate your retirement fund or corpus and how to build that retirement fund in a disciplined manner. It's easy, right? So everyone is able to follow. Please put messages in chat box. So easy, right? Very simple to follow, right? Great. Now, what is the saving risk? So I come across many people who have sufficient income, okay, but they always script that they don't have enough money they don't save enough money. Okay. Now, what is enough money? So in finance, what we tell is at least 30% of your salary should be saved. That is a golden rule of saving. So if you are not saving 30%, then you need to revisit how you are spending your money. So let's see what are the risks why you are not able to save enough. Okay. Simple logic, inflation. What is inflation? The rise in the price of items. For example, milk 1 liter I used to buy for 25 rupees 5 years back. Today for the same milk 1 liter I am paying 40 rupees, right? So vegetables I was buying 1 kg onion for 20 rupees. Today I am paying 40 rupees. Okay. So when you go to a hotel, you order a dosa, you were paying 10 rupees 5 years back or 15 years back. Today, same dosa is costing you 60 rupees. So inflation is simple, to put in simple terms, is just increase in the price of the items which you are consuming, right? So what will this is going to affect you is your income is same, but your expenses is going up. So you are paying rent of 15,000 a month. Today you are paying rent of 30,000. Okay. Each and every commodity you are consuming, school education fees was like monthly could be like 3,000. Today monthly will cost you 8,000. So each and every product which you are consuming or you are spending is increasing, right? So in India, the average inflation has been close to 6% over the last decade. So this is eating up your savings. And the second inflation is lifestyle inflation. Okay. So what is lifestyle inflation? Lifestyle inflation is today everyone is changing the quality of their lifestyle, right? So they want to upgrade themselves. For example, like 10 years back there was no weekend outing. Today, if you see in Bangalore, the culture is weekend, Saturday, Sunday, they have to go out somewhere, and it costs money. Right. And earlier, people used to take train to go from Bangalore to say to Chennai. Today they take a flight, right? So people used to go for a single cine theater. Today they go to multiplex. People used to go for a kirana shop. Today they go for a shopping mall. So everything comes at a cost. So with a changing lifestyle, where an individual is upgrading their lifestyle, there is a cost involved for upgradation. That is the second, lifestyle inflation. And next is unexpected expenses. This can be like emergency expenses, or some of your friends or someone wants something, or your car or your vehicle just throws up some repair expenses. So these kind of unexpected expenses can also cost you, so which can hurt your savings. And fourth is interest expenses. Interest is if you go and borrow money, if you have a loan, then you pay interest. When you pay interest, what will happen? How much you will save after your interest is less, because from your income you also have to pay interest expenses. Risk of not saving enough for stress-free future, right? How you can mitigate this? So inflation, you cannot do anything because it's a general inflation. The price will go up, right? So, but you need to understand the impact of inflation. But hardly you can do anything because it is not in your control. The second is lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation is totally in your control. So you don't have to buy car just because your neighbor bought a car, right? So you can decide your lifestyle based on your financial terms instead of living for people around you. So many times I come across people, they tell, okay, I bought this bike because my colleague or bought a bike. Okay, that should not be the way of spending. So you should have a control on your spending habits. How many people have come across this kind of peer pressure? Yes or no? So we buy things just because our peers have it, right? It is not based on whether we want it or we don't want it, right? We buy it because someone wants it, or someone looks that it is good, we have bought this, right? So next is unexpected expenses. You can cover your unexpected health risk. So if you have a right health insurance, at least your unexpected expenses might come down. And then emergency fund. Okay. And interest expenses, I am totally against taking loans. It's my personal opinion. But you should try to avoid debt. I have discussed this in my previous sessions also. So avoid debt, or if you already have debt, try to manage your debt so that your interest expenses comes down. If you take a car loan for say 10 lakh rupees, by the time you pay off your loan, you would have paid back at least 18 lakhs in return. So 7 to 8 lakhs over next 5 years, you will pay as an interest expenses, right? So you need to understand that interest expenses eats your savings. You are saving today for your better tomorrow. You are saving today, it is not going to help anyone else. So people have this wrong mindset. If I save today, if whoever is saving today, you are saving for your tomorrow. You are not doing any help or anything to others. So please have this in mind. If you save today, it is for your tomorrow, right? And investment risk. What are the investment risks? Okay, these are your investment risks. When you make an investment, what are the risks you are exposed to in investment? One is return volatility, right? So return volatility is you invest $100, it can go to $120 or it can go to $80. The fluctuation in your investment, that is called as volatility. So this happens in any asset you take it. You invest in stock market, the price will go up and down. Okay, you invest in bonds, there is a possibility some bonds might default. You invest in real estate price might go up or go down. You invest in gold, it can go up or go down. So there is a return volatility in each and every investments you do. And the next is illiquidity. Illiquidity is if I want money immediately, I'm not able to take it. Generally, real estate are highly illiquid. That means on emergency purpose, you want money, you will not be able to sell your properties, right? That is one of the constraints in investment in real estate. Next is taxation aspect. You should clearly understand what is the tax you will be paying. Now, simple logic, if you are an Indian, if you are a local resident, and if you are investing in your FDs, bank FDs, you are getting 5% or 5.2% today, depending on the bank, right? If you are getting 5.2% also, if you are on a tax slab of 30%, your after tax return is only 3.5%, because 30% of that 5% will go as tax. So your after tax return is 3.5%. So many people don't understand the impact of tax, what it gets eaten up in your investment return. So always when you are making an investment, look into all these aspects. And if you are investing across countries and all, then currency risk comes into play. Okay. For example, if someone invests in an Infosys company also, the currency risk comes. Why? Because at the end of the day, Infosys profit or loss will depend on how the dollar versus rupee performs. Because majority of the revenue comes from US and the billing happens in dollars. So if dollar appreciates or depreciates, that will also determine what is the final profitability in Infosys. Although you are not investing in different currency, you are putting in INR itself, but you are still exposed to the currency risk, right? Simple, easy, able to understand? So please put it in chat box, yes or no, so that I know that how we are going to. Yeah. So how do you manage your investment risk? So one of the very famous adage is what? Don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? So this picture is highlighting that adage. So diversification is the key, right? You put some money in FDs, but some money in bond funds, some money in equity, some money in real estate, some money in gold. Okay, put it in different baskets so that at least you will be diversified. And the next is an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. See, everyone, whether you like, you don't like, you have to deal with money, right? So if you are an engineer, obviously you will be looking from engineering perspective. Okay, you are only have to know about engineering. If you are a doctor, you need to only know about medical. But money, everyone has to deal with it. Whether you like it, you don't like it, you have to gain knowledge. Whatever might be your profession, at least you need to try to build a basic knowledge on money. Otherwise, you are going to lose out. You are working hard to earn money, but when if you don't understand and invest in the wrong places, you will be losing whatever you have earned, right? So you have to try to at least learn basic concepts, understand basic concepts. That will help you in managing your investments. Next is this picture shows about liquidity. If you have invested in liquid assets, it's easy for you. Whenever you want money, you will be able to take it. So you can reduce your liquidity risk, illiquidity risk by investing in liquid instruments, which can be your FDs, bank FDs, or your bond funds, or even equity funds, mutual funds. These are all is highly liquid. Whenever you want money, you will be able to take it. Then go for professionals if you don't have expertise, right? So if you want to understand about tax, go for a tax consultant. If you want to understand about investment, go for an investment consultant. Okay, don't play with your money if you don't have enough knowledge. Simple, how your income grows or decreases. You have present income. If you are saving more, you can channelize that to right investments. That will further increase your future income. On the other side, if you have a present income and you are not able, your expenses is more than your income, when you are swiping your credit card and all, this is what you are doing. Then what happens? You end up getting into debt. Once you get into debt, you will start paying interest, which will reduce your future income. Okay, so just understand this chart. So always try to simple chart. So whatever is your income, make sure that your expenses is lower than your income so that you are getting into positive saving. Then whatever you are saving, put it in right investments so that your future income increases. So there are two problems. One is people have income which they don't convert it into savings. They spend up and get into negative savings and start borrowing money. And second is, even if you save, you don't channelize in right investments. You might do wrong investments, which will not give you more efficient return. Getting? So try to understand this chart. Easy to understand. So there are three risks. What are those risks? Can I have some answers in chat box? What are the three key financial risks? What we discussed? What are the three risks? Can I have some chat box? Income, saving, and investment. So simple logic. So make sure your income is protected. Take insurance. Do retirement planning. So once your income is safeguarded, make sure that you save at least 30%. And next is whatever you are saving, put it in right investments. Right? So retirement planning. So now I give a backdrop. So I want you, each one of you, to calculate your own retirement fund requirement and how much you need to invest. Okay, have a paper and pen and calculate your own numbers. Okay, so I have taken a case study. Current age of that person is 40 years. So you put whatever is your current age. Retirement age is 60 years. Okay, if you want to retire at 55, 50, 58, you put whatever your age you want to retire. Monthly expenses, I am assuming as of today, this person is spending 50,000 rupees every month for his livelihood. Okay, and current inflation or a general inflation is 6% is what I am considering. Lifestyle inflation, I am assuming 0. Okay, which is not the real case, but for case study or for discussion, I am using it 0%. Expected retirement portfolio return is 10%. That means at the age of 60, when he retires, whatever is having retirement portfolio, what is the return it's going to generate is 10%. So this fellow is 40 to 60 is going to work, 60 is retiring. So at retiring, whatever he has invested is going to generate 10% return. And expected investment portfolio return is 12%. That means if he is investing today from 40 to 60 years during his working years, whatever investment he is doing, he will make 12%. Why this is assumed? Why this way? I'm assuming 10% on retirement portfolio and investment portfolio at 12%. Can anyone answer in the chat box? When someone retires at the age of 60, I'm telling the expected return could be 10%. Okay. And if someone during his working years, his return can be expected 12%. Why there is a difference? Can anyone answer in the chat box? What is the reason? Yeah, risk-taking ability. Nagarjuna answered risk-taking ability. As you get older, what will happen? Your portfolio risk should be reduced, right? Your volatility should be reduced. At the age of 40, you have more risk-taking ability. So that's why as you go closer to your retirement, your return will come down because your portfolio risk should be reduced. That we will see in the presentation. Right? Everyone is ready to calculate what is the retirement fund you require? Right? You calculate along with me. So what is the purpose of your retirement fund? So many people think the purpose of retirement fund is principal safety. Okay. Most of the cases, it may not be the situation. So at retirement, what is your objective? I require regular cash flow. Month on month, I require money. If you put your retirement fund in real estate, if it is a commercial real estate giving you a rental yield, then it's fine. If you are buying a land, thinking it will appreciate at the age of 60, it might appreciate, but you will not have money for your livelihood, right? At retirement, what happens? Regular cash flow. Monthly, you require money for your livelihood. Second main purpose is what? Liquidity. At retirement, what is the biggest risk? Medical emergency. So if there is any medical emergency, you should be able to take your money within days. If you put in real estate, that will not be the case. If you put in any illiquid asset, it can be like a private equity fund or those kind of things, or even PMS with lock-in period. If those kind of investment happens, any investment which has lock-in period, your liquidity will not be there. And third objective is what? I need to transfer this wealth to my son or grandson, right? So at most of the times in the retirement fund, the purpose is I need to, until I am alive, I should get monthly cash flow. Whenever I require any emergency, I should have cash. And the third is I should be able to transfer this money to my next generation. Does it make sense? Yes or no? Simple. What is the purpose of your retirement fund? Anything else is there outside these three? Right? Great. So now how we are going to calculate our retirement fund? First, know your expenditure. So in this case, I have taken this fellow is spending 50,000 a month. So someone might be spending 2 lakh a month. Someone might be spending 20,000 a month. So you just put it down. What is your current expenditure? How much you are spending every month? So each one will differ based on their lifestyle. Someone might be spending 50,000 for a month. Someone might be spending only 5,000 a month. Someone might be spending 2 lakh a month. So you put in your figure, you calculate, right? So first is know your expenditure. Next is how much retirement corpus you need. And third is how you are going to build this retirement fund. So now let's see, know your expenditure. So know your future expenditure, right? So if your current expenditure, say for example, in this case, I have taken 50,000. Each one of you are writing how much is your current. We will see if you might be 40 years today. When you reach 60, the same expenditure, how much it will cost, we will see. There are two ways in which the price will increase. One is your inflation. So today, if you're spending 50,000 at the age of 40, when you reach 60, you don't know how much it will be for lifestyle. For inflation only. And another thing, if you increase your lifestyle, it's going to be 2 to 3% generally. But for our example, we have assumed 0% lifestyle increase, right? Expenditure will keep rising. So understand this. So inflation in India, if you see last 15 years, the average inflation has been close to 6%. Okay. So that is going to be expected going forward also, right? So we will make, for a simplicity, 6% is the increase in the price of items. And lifestyle is, as I already mentioned, it's an increase in the quality of lifestyle. But for this example or for this case study, we are not assuming any lifestyle increase, inflation increase. So if your current expenditure is 50,000, see how much it would cost after 10 years. So today, if you are spending 50,000 for the same items, after 10 years, you need to spend 89,500. After 20 years, it will cost you 1,60,000. After 30 years, it will cost 2,87,000. If you think this is a very big number, just let's assume this 50,000, I'm telling after 20 years, it will be 160,000. That means what? 3 times, right? Now you go back 20 years back in 2000. Now we are in 2020. If you are spending 50,000 in 2000, whatever you would have spent for 15,000, same thing you are spending today for 50,000. How many people will agree? In 2000, if your salary was 15,000, today if your salary is 50,000, both are same. Yes or no? You're getting the logic? After 20 years, today 50,000 to after 20 years 1.6 lakhs, you may think it's high. It's not high. It's just 3 times. That means 20 years back, if you had got 15,000 salary, you could have been comfortably living a life. Today, to live that same life, if you don't understand, it doesn't mean that inflation will not be there. So that's why it is very essential, whether you are from finance background or non-finance background, you should understand the effect of inflation. Now calculate your figure. These are expenditure multiplier at 6% inflation. So now in this case, what we have assumed 50,000. So you have put in your own figure. What is your monthly expenditure today? Okay. If you are 40 years and 20 years to retire, 60 years, multiply by 3.21. If you are only 30 years old today and you are next 30 years to retire, get multiply by 5.74. Getting? This is how many years more to retire, right? If someone is telling that, okay, I am now say 38, I have 22 years to retire. Take a number between these two, right? Calculate. And can I have what would be your future expenditure? Someone can chat, whoever is calculating. So this fellow 40 years old, today 50,000, he has to multiply by 3.21 because 20 years to retire. If the same person wants to retire in 10 years, 10 years to retire is 1.79. So you should have 50 into 1.79. Getting? Can I have some answers? Anyone calculating your own expenditures? What would be your future expenditure at the time of retirement? Can I have some figures? Volunteers? What could be your future expenditure? Simple. Getting the logic? Yes or no? 2.35. Great. Dr. Ramchandra, sir. Okay. So whatever is your current expenditure, take this multiplier. If you are going to retire in next 5 years, 1.34. If you are going to retire in next 10 years, 1.79. 20, 15 years, 20 years. You put these numbers, right? Simple. Okay. Next, once you know how much you want, say Gurudat mentioned, it is 1.79 lakhs, right? So once you know this, how much is your retirement corpus, now we need to build that portfolio. So Dr. Nataraju, 50,000 into 1.78. 1.78 is 10 years. So Nataraju might be 50 years old. Doctor might be 50 years old. So is going to, current expenditure is 50,000. So is multiplied by 1.7. Simple. Everyone got this slide? If you don't have this number, next you will not be able to follow. That's why I want each one of you to have your own number. It can be plus or minus, it's fine. Okay, know your target retirement corpus. Now you need to build this money. So this we covered: expected expenditure at retirement, current expenditure, lifestyle and inflation. And we have not assumed lifestyle cost. If you put lifestyle cost, it will be much higher. And target retirement portfolio. Okay, so target retirement portfolio will depend on how much portfolio size you should have. Some people come and tell me, sir, if I have 2 crores, is it sufficient? Someone will come and tell me, if I have 4 crores at retirement, is it sufficient? Someone will come and tell me, if I have 10 crore, is it sufficient? You cannot tell based on whether you have 10 crore or 5 crore or 2 crore, is it sufficient for your retirement? depends on where this 10 crore is it. Okay, I might have a property of 2 crore, okay, which is on the form of a land. I'm not generating any cash flow. If you don't sell it, your retirement is too much away, because you know what you will do for monthly cash flow, right? So you should know where this money is. That will determine whether that is sufficient or not. So you'll understand. So these are the different portfolios you have. Okay. So one is what? Equity. Equity is like you are owner. So when you are an equity means you are invested in stocks, or you run your own company is also like owner. If you are a sole proprietorship, you are running your own business, you are a owner. Okay. So generally when you are an owner, you get higher return. Okay. Average long-term return of Sensex is close to 14% over last 40 years. So, but it comes with volatility. You run your own business, you are the owner. You invest in shares like, Infosys, Wipro, TCS, these are all your owner. Or you invest in some mutual fund equity schemes. Okay. So whenever you have made investment in equity, okay, you are in this portfolio. Hybrid equity is what? A mix of equity and bond. Another side is bond. Bond is what? Your bank FD is your bond, right? So next is you have government securities like NSE, KVP, all these are bond. Companies issued corporate FDs, that is bond. Mutual fund offers bond mutual funds. Your PPF is a bond. So these are asset classes, what we tell. So you have bond where you get a fixed interest. Generally today the interest is 6 to 8% kind of return. And equity is where you are an owner. You don't have a guaranteed return, but long run has given good return. Okay. And if you have a mix of equity and bond, this is called as hybrid equity or hybrid bond. When you tell hybrid equity, or 65% you are in equity and 35% is in bond, like majority is in equity. If you are putting in a hybrid bond, majority is in bond. I have 70% invested in a FD kind of product and 30% invested in equity shares kind of product. Okay. At retirement, you cannot go to equity because it can be high risk. Okay. So if you go to bond, the returns would be very low. So you have to somewhere more realistic portfolio would be hybrid bond or hybrid equity based on your risk appetite and based on your requirement. Right? We will understand that. Now, what are the return expectation under this? So these are long-term return which I am telling. The return might totally change in reality. Long-term return in bond is what? Say for example, monthly retirement cash flow is 50,000 for in this case. Okay. So if he wants 50,000, how much, if someone is retiring at 60 today and he wants 50,000 every month. Okay. If you are investing in equity, okay, this is equity, you will get 12% kind of return, long-term return. So if you have 50 lakh rupees, which is generating 12%, every month you can be able to take 50,000, right? This is a long-term return if it is an equity. Hybrid equity will give you close to 10%. Okay. Hybrid bond will give you close to 8%. If you are going for a bond or an FD product, today return is close to 6%. So if how much should be your retirement corpus if you want 50,000 every month? If you keep 100% in FD, it will be 1 crore. Getting? If you keep 100% in your equity, then it comes at 50 lakhs, but it will be more fluctuating. This will be more stable. This will be more fluctuating. If you mix both equity and bond, then you will have this, whether 60 lakhs or 75 or 1 crore. So if you don't decide your retirement portfolio, you don't know where exactly you want, how much money you should have. So if two people come to me and tell that 50,000 is my requirement monthly cash flow, if a person is ready to keep it fully in equity, he requires only 50 lakhs. But if a person is ready to keep everything in bond, then he should have 1 crore. Getting? So where you are going to build your retirement portfolio, that should be your first point. So your retirement portfolio, will it consist of full equity, full bond, or mix of bond and equity? Getting? Now in this case, what we told, this is for 50,000, 60 he requires this much money for comfortable retirement. But if someone is 40 years, current 40 years, so what will happen? He is spending today for 50,000. By the time he becomes 60, how much it will be? 1.6 lakhs. So you guys also have calculated, right? 1.79 lakhs, 85,000. So different people have different calculation. So when you retire, today's 50,000 or today's expenditure is going to be 1.6 lakhs for this example. You know what is your future expenditure. For that, if you want, see the number. So for 50,000 rupees, 60 lakh rupees. If it is for 1.6 lakhs, you just multiply it, getting into 3.2. Whatever you have got, okay, if you are deciding to keep it 10% portfolio, then 60 lakhs you require. If you are deciding to keep everything in FD, 1 crore into 3.2. Getting? Simple logic. Whatever is the multiplying factor, you take this. So these numbers, you look into it. Okay, for 50,000, if you are going to keep it in bond, 1 crore you should have. If you are going to keep it in this hybrid equity, 75 lakhs you should have it for 50,000. Okay. Now, if you want 1.79, so what you should do? 1.79 divided by 50 into 75 lakhs. Getting? For a 50,000 cash flow, you need to have 75 lakhs if you are going for hybrid equity. Now, for simplicity, we'll assume all the participants are going for hybrid equity. Okay. Now, for 50,000, 75 lakhs is required. If your retirement, say someone, Gurudatta has mentioned 1.79. So what you do? 1.79 divided by 50 into 75 lakhs. And Jairam has mentioned 85,800. So 85,800 divided by 50,000 into 75 lakhs. So that should be the retirement corpus you should have if you decide to go with this portfolio. Getting the logic? Whatever number you have got, divide by 50,000 into 75 lakhs if you are going for hybrid equity. If someone is very conservative, they tell, boss, I want to keep it only in FD, then into 1 crore instead of into 75 lakhs. Yes. So how many people have calculated? Can I have some numbers? So for this person, if he is going for a hybrid equity, 2.4 crores. Okay. So what is the reason? If you go for a lower portfolio return, you have to get higher retirement corpus. Simple logic. If I am going for more safety, that means lower interest, where stability is there, but you need to build more corpus. If you are going and taking higher risk, then your portfolio size can be on the lower side. So this is what it has happened. If someone wants 50,000, purely keeping at bond, they have to keep 3.2 crores. If they want to keep it in equity, only 1.6 crores. Whether you want to build 1.6 crores at 12% return or 3.2 crores at 6%. But generally, when you get old, you should be closer on this side, bond side, 6, 8 or 10. Equity is when you are young. Getting? So this is the example what we discussed. So current expenditure is 50,000. Future expenditure for this person over next 20 years will be 1.6 lakhs. He can decide either to go for a target retirement portfolio, which is hybrid equity, which gives 10% return. Then you should have 1.92 crores. If he goes for a target retirement portfolio 6%, then you should have 3.2 crores. Okay. So this is what you need to look for. See, 10% return is this 1.92 crores. 6% return is 3.2. So you decide to go for this or this portfolio. That will determine how much money is sufficient for you. Simple logic. So now in this example, I am assuming this fellow is going for an hybrid equity, 1.92 crores. Your next step is how you need to build this 1.92 crores over next 20 years. If you are 50, how you are going to build this money over next 10 years? Simple? Easy? So each one have calculated your figures. Third step is, in this example, I will show you how you are going to build this 1.92 crores. Okay. You have 20 years. So these are the investments you have available where you can put your money for next 20 years, right? If in this example. So if you are 55, then 5 years more for investment horizon. If you are 50 years, next 10 years is your investment horizon. So depending on your age. So fixed income securities can be your bank FD, PF, PPF, NSC, KVP, corporate FD, bond funds. Average return is close to 6 to 8%. Liquid, liquid means whenever you want, you will be able to take it. Lower return potential, less volatility. So you will not have much fluctuations. Equities on the other side can be your stock market shares, equity funds, equity mutual funds, or portfolio management services. You can give it to some portfolio management companies. Offered return generally it's 14%. This is Sensex return over last 40 years. Okay, very liquid. Yeah, whenever you want money, you will be able to take it. Except PMS, if it's a closed-end fund, it will not be, but most of it will be very liquid. Higher return potential, highly volatile. So this is highly volatile in the sense it will go up and down. Okay. Gold on the other side, you can put it in physical gold or gold bond funds or gold ETFs. Offer returns like 8.4% since 1980. It's illiquid and volatile. Real estate, you can put it in land, REITs, commercial, residential, offers return close to long-term inflation, highly illiquid. So when you are planning for retirement, you should be very careful whether you need to enter into real estate, because at retirement you need to have more liquid investments. So these two are liquid. Gold, if you are buying through gold funds, it's a gold ETF or gold funds, it's liquid. If you are buying physical gold, it depends. If it is a small amount, you will be easily able to exchange it. If it's a bigger gold value you are keeping it, then it will be very difficult for you to exit when you want money, right? So real estate, it's highly liquid, bigger investment size, lacks transparency. Okay, mutual fund can be one of the nice investment vehicle. Okay, it's an investment vehicle where you can invest. Investor gives the money to fund manager invests in securities, securities generate return, and returns are passed back to investors. These securities, you can invest in bonds, you can invest in equities, you can invest in gold. So out of the 4 investment major assets available, you can put in these 3 through mutual funds. Okay. So the advantage is it's professionally managed, because the fund manager manages your money. So you are not taking a bet, or you are just not investing, in someone's advice. Next is diversification. A fund is investing in many companies. So even if one company doesn't do well, other companies does well. So it will get offsetted. It's regulated by SEBI, and you have AMFI, and then you have high return potential. There is a potential and low cost. And you have flexible, you have many funds to choose from. Depending on your risk appetite, you can choose the required fund. Okay. When you are investing, you need to decide which investment portfolio you need to build it. So if you are 40 years, equity or hybrid equity might be good, because you a retirement portfolio. So your retirement, as you go closer to your retirement, what should happen? Your equity should go closer to your bond. Right? At retirement, if you have more exposed to equity, it might be more risky. Okay. When you are young, you should start with equity. So with age, you should slowly move from equity to hybrid bond. So depending on your risk appetite, you should reduce your risks. Right? So earlier when you start, it's much better. When you start as early, it is good, because you have 20 years to invest. If you don't plan for retirement and you come at 55 years and want to invest for retirement, it might be too late. Okay. So invest regularly. SIP is becoming very popular. It is regular. SIP is nothing but your bank RD. Every month you are putting some money into the mutual fund. It's called as SIP, right? So, but it helps you to build a saving discipline. Now, SIP return will totally depend on the asset where you are putting in. You can make SIP in gold fund. You can make SIP in bond fund. You can make SIP in equity fund. Okay. How much return you will generate will determine on where you are putting your money. Okay. Now, in this example, what happened? 1.92 crores is what he has to achieve. So now let's assume he is putting in monthly SIP. He starts at the age of 50. Like he is currently 40. He doesn't do any retirement planning for next 10 years. He starts at the age of 50 years to start investing. If he decides to invest in full equity, it might be 12% kind of return. He has to put 83,000. If he decide to put it full FD, he has to put monthly 1.17 lakhs. Most of the times, many people end up in this kind of situation where they don't plan retirement when they are young. When they get older, when they're getting closer to retirement, they want to start. At that age, they cannot go for full equity because of the risk levels. they will end up taking a lower risk profile. Then they have to bring in such a huge money, which they will not be able to do it. Okay. Think logically. After retirement 60, you are going to survive till, say, average age today is almost close to 70 years in India, but most of the people will live till 80 years. So if you want to make sure that 20 years you don't have income, right? So if you come in the last 5 years and want to plan for next 20 years, most of the times you will fail. Getting? The simple way of looking at it, whether you are close to retirement, so you have to, your working years might be like 30 years. You assume you start at the age of 30 or 25, and you work for 30 years, and retirement might be 25 to 30 years. That means if you have worked for 15 years now, if today your salary stops, at least it should take care of your next 10 years. You should be manageable with your money. Then you are on the right path for your retirement. Getting? Because in your working life, you have to cover your retirement life. You cannot come on the last 2 years or 3 years and tell that you cannot play 2020, right? It's a test match. So you cannot come and tell that, last 2 hours I want to score 70 runs. So you have to play the entire game in the right manner. So think like that. If you want to save 30%, at least 20% is going towards retirement. That means 5 years of, if you will work, you should cover at least 1 year of your retirement or 2 years of your retirement. So if you start early, that mathematics will work easily, right? So many people come to retirement only at the verge of retirement. It becomes very difficult if they don't have right investments already in place. Okay. So simply, if this fellow starts at the age of 50, you see this number. If he starts at the age of 40, right? Instead of 50, he starts at 40. If he puts in equity, how much he has to put? Only 19,000. Because he gets 20 years of compounding. And he's building his retirement corpus over 20 years. If he puts in bond also, he tells, I don't want to take any risk. I'll keep it only in FD kind of product. Still, it is achievable 41,000 if he starts at the age of 40. But if he starts at the age of 50, he has to put 1.17. So always invest for a longer period. That's the thing. Thanks. So it is open for questions. Hello. Hello.
Anyone you are interested to ask the speaker, so you can unmute yourself and you can start asking your doubts or questions.
Last but one slide, please.
Hello. Hello. Very good afternoon to everyone. Happy Dashara to start with. And thank you for sharing this and conducting this. One point I would like to say is most of the time, people will start thinking about retirement when they are getting closer to retirement.
Yes.
I mean, a classic example is myself, and I never thought of retirement till the time I crossed, let's say, 40. So, I mean, the more the people have an access to this kind of discussion, it helps.
Yes.
So yes, I am right now 50. So fortunately, with some acumen, yes, I did start saving, but the right kind of saving is what you have explained by showing the three type of stages, whether bond or equity or your in between hybrid bond. So
Yeah.
probably at some stage, I would like to discuss one-to-one regarding hybrid bond, if time permits, or at a later stage.
Yeah.
But thank you. This was very nice and very informative.
Thanks.
This is Duvuri Venkateshwar, just for the
record. Thank you
No,
so much.
in India, generally retirement is the only, retirement is actually not many people focus on. Because what happens in India, every commitment, financial commitment becomes important. So kids' education comes, kids' marriage comes. So whatever they save, they keep using it as and when there is a need. And finally, when all the commitment is done, they would have crossed 55 plus. That's the time it strikes where is the money for retirement. Because they don't do this mental maths and keep separate basket for separate sections. So in India, the mindset is I save enough money, and as and when money is required, I use it. And you keep using all the money which you could save for retirement. All your goals comes before retirement. So as and when you require money, you keep on using it. And finally, when you come close to retirement, you start looking at retirement is a big, hurdle. So many people cannot afford to retire at 60 in India.
Good afternoon, sir. Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, a small doubt will be there regarding
Yeah,
a loan. No, sir, loan.
Yeah.
They don't want to take any loan from any bank. I have not preferred, you told. But what
Yeah.
about housing loan? Sir? Housing loan.
Housing loan is good, sir, in the sense I've always mentioned, if you are taking loan, okay, the normal thing is you should benefit out of loan. There are one thing, the asset wherever you are using, it should increase. Okay, then it's fine. Otherwise, and another thing is you should get tax benefit. Okay.
Sir, one
So
more.
there are only 3 loans which can give you this. One is educational loan you take for your kids. Kids will have earning potential, better earning potential. And obviously the tax benefit comes. Home loan also you get tax benefit, and there is a possibility that real estate price will go up. And next is your business loan. For business loan also interest expenses is tax benefitable, and business they are using it for value creation. So these are the only 3 loans at least people should consider. Otherwise, in my opinion, loan should be avoided. Only these 3 should be the reason at least they can look for it. It's my personal opinion, but many people run on a lot of loans. That's a problem.
One more thing, sir. The value of the assets is goes on decreasing.
Yeah.
The value of the asset is goes on decreasing as the time goes, sir. You told very clearly depreciation, the building, if you take loan from the loan purpose, it will undergo depreciation, sir.
Yes.
Then now, in what way it benefits, sir?
So, sir, what happens in real estate is building will always depreciate, okay, but the land value will appreciate.
Land value appreciates.
Yeah. So generally, what we tell is, from accounting perspective or finance perspective,
Yes.
land value generally increases with inflation if it's in normal levels. Today, it's a different thing whether land is overvalued or undervalued. But if land is fairly valued, today, if the land price is normal price you are buying at a normal levels, then every year it will increase with inflation, 6 to 7%. Your building will depreciate by 2% on average. Okay, so your net growth will be almost 4% will be the net growth. Okay, so if you buy a property for 1 crore, in 16, 17 years, it will become 2 crore under normal condition. Okay, but when you're buying at 1 crore, it should be fair. So if it is on a higher side, then property price will not go up. Okay, but generally 15, 20 years, if you build a property, it will increase. If you have a land, it will increase in 10 years as a land.
Thank you, sir.
Like doubling.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
My name is Jairam Bhatt. I wanted to know two query I wanted to ask you. One thing is that regarding the investment plan in the hybrid state, like equity hybrid bond in that fashion. So in the very beginning slide, you said that around 30% of the gross salary would be the ideal saving amount.
Yes.
In that case, here investment in case of planning. So how much we should plan for bond and how much we should plan for equity?
Sir, you
in
need to
such case?
consult individually proper advisors. It depends on each individual risk appetite and the individual requirement. Okay. So what I can tell is like, if someone wants 50,000 and if they have like 5 crores already invested, you can keep it even in equity 5 crore. Because equity only thing
Okay.
is if it goes down, you should have patience to wait. So even worst
Okay.
case scenario, 30% market goes down, 5 crore will come to 3.5 crores. But you want only 50,000 a
Okay.
month,
Okay.
right?
Sir,
You can hold it. So it
but
depends on individual.
okay, sir. But one more thing that I see, I have invested in mutual fund also. But I have invested say 25,000 in mutual fund, and also I have kept in as a bank FD. But
Yeah.
as if right now it would be my bank FD would be giving the more return than the mutual fund.
Yes, sir.
But how it could be the justifiable one to use it in a mutual fund?
Sir, and it's not like that. See, mutual fund, it all depends on mutual fund where you are putting the money. Okay, mutual fund is a ocean. So, for example,
Okay.
in mutual fund, you have bond funds, you have equity funds. If you have put in bond funds, the risk is low,
Okay.
the return is also low.
Ah,
It is comparable to FD. If you put in
okay.
equity fund, depends on which kind of funds you have put in and what time you have invested. See, generally what
Okay.
happens, I'll tell you. When markets have done very well, when return is too high, then everyone wants to
Ah,
invest at the peak.
correct.
Okay, when
Correct.
market
I
is down,
think.
no one wants to invest. So most of the times, investor return is different and fund performance is different.
Okay. SIP
Okay,
is,
it
I think
depends.
it would be averaging, I think.
Yeah,
SIP.
SIP will average it out. That is why SIP would be generally good because it gives you that benefit of cost benefit.
Averaging will be taken care, right, sir?
Yes,
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
welcome.
So any more questions or clarifications?
So anything is there, you feel free to get in touch with me. So I
Yeah.
have left my number. Okay. So great.
So if there is no queries, then we can proceed. Prashant? Over to Prashant.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So thank you, sir. Thank you, Ayyappan, sir.
Welcome.
I request Dr. Ramchandra Seji, the Managing Trustee of Sanatana Sampradhisthana, to summarize today's webinar. Over to you, sir.
First of all, let me thank once again V.R. Ayyappan. So second time, so he is with us and is addressing all the participants and many important the financial information he has shared with us. So today in the first half, he has taken the financial risk. So he has quoted 3 different financial risk. So with examples like income risk, saving risk, as well as investment risk, and each and every risk, what are all the different the
Okay, Habibi.
like aging, death, under income risk, and disability and unemployability, and how to overcome from this the income risk is given with an example. And the second risk he has taken is saving risk. So under that he has given the inflation, lifestyle inflation, interest expenses, unexpected expenses. Here also he has given with a lot of the examples how to come out from this the saving risk. And the last he has given investment the risk under that return volatility and illiquidity, taxation and currency. These are some of the things he has discussed with examples. And beautiful quotes also. So he has used save today for better tomorrow. So easily we could able to understand from this. And even a successful investment is about managing risk, not avoiding it. So whatever so we invest, we have to manage our the risk, but not we cannot avoid it. It depends upon, it depends. That's what he told. And even income, the progression as well as regression. So how it happens. So with that slide he has explained in detail. And also the second half he has spoken about the retirement planning. So we, from our own income, how much we are getting and how much we are how much is our expense, we could able to calculate. Okay. So as per our age, after that is 60 years, what might be our expenses, monthly expenses. So that is what with that example he has given. And even he has highlighted the purpose of retirement fund, like regular cash flow, liquidity, wealth transfer. So these are all the some of the important things he has highlighted. And steps to build a retirement corpus. So under that he spoke about know your expenditure. So everyone, we should have our expenditure. So then only we can plan for retirement, the corpus, as well as know your the target the retirement corpus also, with example he has given. So, and he has told with this quote, always we have to play a test match, so not 2020. This is what he has quoted. So rightly said. So even never too late today. So I hope everyone should think about our retirement planning. So, and we have to see to that until we reach our retirement. So what is our the monthly the income we'll be getting after retirement? We should think of that. So I hope so everyone got the information. So with examples he has given, any some more information you want, so he has shared his phone number also, and he has got the website also. You can reach him by calling him. So with this we hope everyone got the fruitful interaction as well as the information. So everyone will see to that, at least from now onwards we will think about our retirement planning. We'll plan for it and we'll see to that. So we'll have a fruitful retirement life after retiring. So once again, I wish everyone the happy Dasara. So today is 9th day. So Ayudha Puja we celebrated. Tomorrow is Vijayadashimi. So this Dasara wishes. Once again, I thank everyone for your the participation here. Over to you, Prashant.
Thank you, sir. Gratitude is the essence of humanity. Now I thank Mr. V.R. Ayyappan, Chartered Financial Analyst, Financial Risk Manager, founder, merafunds.com, for accepting our request to be the resource person of today's webinar for the second time, and also for delivering a very informative session. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks.
I thank Dr. Ramchandra Siji, Managing Trustee, the Sanatana Sampradhisthana, Dr. Raghavendra Prasad, MD, President, Rotary Club of Mysore West, and Mr. Dinesh, Secretary, Rotary Club of Mysore West, for their involvement in organizing this webinar. I also thank Shri Lokesh Siji, President, Dr. Shantaraja Aras, and Srimati Bhagya Gopal, Board of Trustees, Sanatana Sampradhisthana, for their support extended in organizing this webinar. Finally, I thank all the participants for their support and active participation in this webinar. Thank you one and all. Once again, I wish everybody a very happy Dasara. Thank you.
Thank you.